Today, we're going to be talking about one of the reasons that 95% of businesses fail. If you look at most companies, 95% of them fail. And honestly, I think that the reasoning behind it is probably something that most of you do not expect. Some of the things that we're going to talk about in this video come from this book, 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel. Phenomenal serial entrepreneur. He was one of the starters and CEO of PayPal for a while. I believe he actually joined in with Elon Musk and merged at some point. I forget Elon's original company that was in competition with PayPal, but phenomenal entrepreneur. I highly recommend the book. And we're going to talk about one of the chapters where he talks about not necessarily why 95% of businesses fail. I'm saying that, but he talks about what normally will make a business be there for the long run. And I actually think that this is a huge reason why my company has been so successful, even though I've never read this book. That I still believe that my company has been so successful because of all of these things that I have actually been doing without even knowing that somebody had written about this before. So hit the like button, subscribe to this channel. Let me know what types of videos you guys want in the comment section, since this channel is very, very, very new. And I do plan to actually start a podcast soon. The first couple of episodes will probably just be myself, and then I would like to bring guests on in the future. So hit the like button, subscribe, and let's get into this. So you guys can see here, these are the notes that I was writing these down on. Grammarly and just having something to write notes on, honestly, as a side note, is something that's just phenomenal, that I think everybody needs to be able to just jot down notes, work on things very quickly, and I'm telling you guys, like, it will overall just help everything. So let's talk about these first. Now, I have some bullet points thrown down, and then I want to go ahead and just kind of break down a little bit more about these. So I put the success of my company because, like I said, I think that these things allowed my company to be successful, even though I never really actually understood that I was doing these. If somebody would have told me this from the beginning, hopefully this is what I'm doing for you guys, I would have been a lot better off than where I am right now. Even though I'm doing phenomenal, I probably could have grown the company to $10 million a year within the same amount of time that it took to grow me to $500,000 a year. So the first thing I have is stay lean and flexible. Now, my company and what I do for a living is trading stocks, right? It's mainly what I do, the options market. And a lot of these things are actually applicable to the stock market, which is really weird because entrepreneurship and business really tie together. The same principles that tie together in entrepreneurship and business tie together in the stock market. And so I put staying lean and flexible, not only in business, but in your personal life. Never grow too quickly. Never inflate your personal life or your status signaling to fill a void. Living well below your means in your company is your lifeblood. You need money to stay in business. Now, if you don't own a company currently, it doesn't mean that you can't stay lean and stay flexible. Before I started my company, what I meant by staying lean and flexible was I was sharing a 2-bedroom apartment that I owned because I had a duplex, and I was splitting it with my girlfriend, my brother, myself, and my dog. And I owned my car outright. It was a little Jetta. I didn't have a ton of bills. I think my monthly expenses was like $500 a month because I lived like a broke college kid, even though I was 27. But I knew that having very little bills and having a ton of flexibility would allow me to take the risk that was appropriately needed in order to start my company. If you're somebody who doesn't own a house, you don't own a car, and your bills are very, very cheap because you split housing, etc., it's going to give you guys the ability to play offense in a world where 99% of people play defense. Simply meaning that if you want to go take a risk, if you see an outsized return potential in some business or some investment or something, you can take it because you don't have the big mortgage, the family, the cars, all of these other things that other people who are in their 30s or even like late 20s currently have. And the same thing goes for your company and for your business. If you start bringing on tons of employees, which I think hiring employees is great, it's really, really helped me scale the company. But if you start hiring people way too early, if you start bringing on more people way too early, if you start driving a business car or you start to buy equipment you really don't need, which I did, and you start to do all this shit, it's going to really kill your bottom line. And having cash in the pipeline as a company is so freaking important to weather the storm. I mean, look at COVID. We're going to talk about that later on, but look at what happened with COVID, right? Like you could have been killing it pre-COVID, working, owning some food truck, and then everything shuts down for months and months and months, and it could have blown you out of the water. Now, the other part of staying lean and flexible is never having a rigid plan. And this is something that I really had to focus on because I'm always somebody who likes to have a destination. I always like to have a plan, but I feel that in life and in business, you can't have a rigid plan. You have to have a direction, but you can't have an exact path because it's just like Mike Tyson said, I think like when you get punched in the face, you have a plan until you actually get hit. And the same thing happens for business. Like you can have a general outlook on where you want to go and briefly how that will look, but shit's just going to always get in the way. Like I said before, look at 2020, look at everything that happened. And when I look at my business, right, when I started my initial YouTube channel, Peter DiCarlo Investing in 2020, I did not want to talk about the stock market at all. Like at all. I just wanted to be a trader and I wanted to talk about investing in real estate, maybe some mutual funds, talk about the stuff I'm talking about now, business building, sales, personal development, and I just started making Tesla videos and stock market videos, and the whole company exploded, and the company and the YouTube channel became something different than I had ever planned on it to be. However, I've ultimately still gotten to the final destination that I wanted to get to, just through different means. So you can't be super rigid because things are just going to eventually work themselves out. The second thing is to focus on incremental movements and incremental growth rather than massive growth. And to also, I put lock in the growth. So it's kind of like losing weight in the sense of it's, if you weigh 200 pounds and you want to get to 160 pounds, you don't want to go from 200 to 60 pounds or 160 pounds in like 3 weeks because you're never going to be able to stay there, right? You're just going to yo-yo right back up. You would be better off to lose a pound a week for like 3 months and then hold like 180 pounds, then lose 10 more pounds, hold 170 pounds for months and months and months, go from 170 to 160, hold that frame, lock in those gains, lock all of that in before you make that next move. And this is all piggybacking off of the staying lean and flexible. But if you focus on incremental movements and lock in your growth, it will put you in just a much better place. So I put growing revenue by 100% year over year is fantastic, but it'll always be safer for you to grow at a safer speed, dial in your product, your services, and your team. This is something we're going to talk about in the third part, which is focusing on your product. But everyone focuses on growth. Everyone focuses, especially if you're a public company, which nobody here probably is, but everyone focuses on growth. Like, what are sales? How much are we growing by? What are our metrics? What's our user base? Like, and I get that way with my team. I'm like, well, we're stuck at X amount of users. How do we get over that X amount of users? Instead, you need to lock in your user growth, and whatever your business is, lock in that margin and lock in your growth overall and your revenue, and really focus on building a better product, focus on having a better service, focus on building a quality team, and then you'll shoot straight up. Like in our free Discord community, we have a premium aspect to our traders helping traders, where you'll get access to my trades. And we were stuck at like 400 members for a while. And I kept being like, I want to get over 400. I want to get over 400. And all I did, I stopped focusing on selling it. And I focused on just making the product better. I focused on hiring a good team and having us all work together. And I focused on just building a better service. And we went from 400 to 550 people within 2 weeks. Seriously, within 2 weeks of me not trying to do anything, just building a better product. And so another part of that is if you're selling a product, your margins are more critical than your revenue growth. And as we talk about this final thing, it's very important to realize, but profit margins are the lifeblood of a business. And it's why I would never recommend anybody, honestly, to start a company that's not a service-based company. I cannot imagine growing a company like a restaurant where I have 5 to 7% profit margins. To think that I'd do $1 million in sales and I would keep $50,000 at the end of the year. Like, that's terrible to me. But if you are a company where you are selling products, it's always better for you to really focus on your margins, to make the product better, to make it more affordable, than to sit there and do tons of growth. And something to think of is kind of like Tesla, right? Like Tesla they don't really promote their products. You don't ever see like a Tesla ad on YouTube or on TV. You don't ever see the company like posting Facebook ads and Instagram ads, at least not to my knowledge. They just focus on building a better product every single day, continuing to enhance on that product every single day. And then their people, which we'll talk about, is their marketing team. So the fourth thing is to focus on the product and not your sales. Alex Hormozi talks about this. Highly recommend you go check him out. Focusing on selling is just dumb. Build a better product, build a better experience, and cut down your churn. Word of mouth will be your best salesman. And like we were saying before with Tesla, Tesla's not out here running these like massive sales, like recruiters. And yes, they do have like different dealerships where I know they used to have salesmen by the one near me. I don't, it's not even open anymore. I think it's just a service center, but they're not running Super Bowl commercials and running YouTube ads and Instagram ads. And they're not doing any of that. They are just focusing solely on building a better product and then therefore building a better experience through updates. And then what happens is, because their products are so good, I'm not talking about build quality and whatnot, but because people love their products so much, they will go out and create YouTube videos. They will go out and they will, share their experiences with other people, and they are their salesman. And so if you build a product that's so fucking good that your people are your salesmen, you don't have to pay for that. It's literally free advertising. Like, I have right now 8,300 people within our Discord community. If I can build a phenomenal experience for all 8,300 people, if they go out and tell one person, we could grow to 16,000 overnight. Now, of course, that's not going to happen because you can't get 100% of all those people. But even if 1,000 go out and tell 1,000, and then that 1,000 tells another 1,000, if you feel like you're stuck, right, like in a sales block or a growth block, honestly focus on the product, and then that will push you through the next level, right? Now, I'm going to do a video talking about how you can focus and build better products and better services without destroying your brain and stressing your life, because that's something that I went through, where I just tried to give everybody in our service company and in our consulting company all of myself to build a better product, which in turn did build a better product, but it made me just like a fucking terrible shell of who I was because I was just working so much. So we'll talk about that in a separate video. But I hope that this helps, guys. Hit the like button, subscribe. Let me know if you learned anything new. Let me know if there's anything you guys want me to talk about in the future. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.